evening, everyone. I'm Nikhil Mishra, and I'm here to present about Food Science Club. Where do I get the pointer from?
There's no pointer. You have to put the keys on the outside.
So I'm Nikhil Mishra, and I'm here to present about Food Science Club. Now, before I talk about Food Science Club, I want to give you a short introduction of what food science is. Now, as you can see over here, food science is a multidisciplinary field which consists of various core subjects like biology, nutrition, agriculture, physics, engineering, etc. Now, I hope you all are aware that there is a food science department at IIT which has courses for graduates and undergraduates. We fall under School of Applied Technology, and our research component takes place in Moffat campus while our courses takes place in the main campus. So, to start with, the Food Science Club was basically the idea of food science department students to bring students from various fields on one single platform and to speak about the most basic resource of your life, that is food. So I'll explain you why do we need Food Science Club at IIT with a small example. Over here, you can see various logos like fat-free, sugar-free, 100% natural, non-GMO. I know you all must have heard about these logos, or you must have seen this on your food product. But many of us do not know how these food products exactly affect our health. Neither do we know how these food products are actually processed. So that's where Food Science Club comes into picture. We are here to explain you the scientific part of how these food products will affect your health or how they are produced. We also aim to discuss and find solutions on how we can feed 9 billion population in next 20 to 30 years. Also, our next goal is to represent IIT at various international events. I'll tell you more about this later in my slide. Moving on from goals to the activities. Our activities include industrial visit, which will take place once a semester. Our second activity is forums, where we'll speak about the food safety related issues. We'll call speakers from industry and academia. And our third activity is networking session, and lastly we'll be having volunteering and social activity. Now for this activities, we have an estimated budget over here. As you can see here, this is the budget of one forum, and we are going to have 3 such forums. So 110 into 3, that costs up to $330. This is a rough estimation. And our second activity, which is industrial visit, would cost us around $150. And our last activity, professional networking, would cost us around $300. So the total comes up to $780. So to meet this budget, we have planned a fundraising activity. Our first approach would be to go to food companies and restaurants for sponsorship. Our second approach would be to ask support from SAT and IFISH department. Our third approach would be to approach our IIT Food Science alumni to give us funds. And lastly, through student activity funds. Moving on to growth and promotion. Our first way is through promoting it in our club in the orientation programs, and also through college newsletter. Our second way is through social media. Our third way would be through flyers to bring in more memberships. We also plan to have an official club website so that we can inform students about our club activities. Apart from these growth and promotion tactics, we also aim to promote our club through Institute of Food Technology. Now, what is Institute of Food Technology? It is an internationally recognized organization which consists of more than 20,000 members across 95 nations. It consists of various food industrialists, food businessmen, students related to food. And IFT-SA is a daughter organization of IFT. And the benefits that we'll get if we are officially recognized is that we'll be able to represent our college at various international level competitions. Our students will be eligible for various scholarships, and moreover, more than 50 top universities in USA are officially recognized by IFT-SA. So why not our IIT college, which is also a top ranked college in food science department. So this was about food science. I would like to introduce you to my team. We have been meeting since last 2 to 3 months weekly, and our total membership right now is 30, but we expect to have 80 to 100 members throughout the semester. Our faculty advisor is Dr. Kathiravan Krishnamurthy, and our external support would be IFT-SA. So to end, I would say that 5 minutes was a little less, so I expect to have some questions from you all.
Thank you.
That's the Google Slides and PowerPoint.
Okay.
Okay,
So any questions?
the senators will have 5 minutes to ask questions, starting now.
You mentioned that your student organization would be involved in volunteering events. What sort of volunteering events would your club be involved in?
So my team member, Shamali, she had come up with this idea. And
Okay, so last time.
I'd like to call all my team. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So last year when we went for the IFT event, we spoke to a lot of other clubs, which with other universities, and they've been doing sustainability drives, food wastage drives, and they're usually with bigger companies like PepsiCo and Kraft who would like to invite students to do things, some things of that sort. So something of that sort.
Very cool.
Anything else?
Question. To the best of my knowledge, there's no undergraduate food science.
There's no as such a degree for undergraduate in food science, but the courses in our graduate courses, even undergraduate students can take it. So
Okay.
they join us in our courses. Many
Sure.
of the
Oh, okay. All right. So I guess my question is, how do you plan on engaging undergraduate students?
The best way they'll benefit from this is that if an undergrad is from a chemistry department or from a biology department, as I told you, food science is a multidisciplinary course. So they can be involved in this club and they can know where they want to go in future by this food science club, if they want to go in the food industry or not. Because chemistry and biology and nutrition, somehow they are related to food science. And it will be a good opportunity for them through industrial visits, through professional networking, to know if they want to go in that field or not. So it will be really beneficial for them.
Any other questions?
Can you give me a sample topic that you guys might be discussing about at any meeting?
One of them is the hot topic of what we discussed was
So it'll be anything related to nutrition. So maybe the top 10 trends that will be followed this year for related to nutrition or processing, or it could be just simple things like how can you preserve your food better, or you stay on a college campus, what would you do to have food on dorms but not have it spoiled.
or right now,
anything like that.
or recently there is a Chipotle outbreak of E. coli going on. So there were many people who got sick because of it. So we can come into play and educate people like how you can stay safe from after such outbreaks takes place.
You mentioned off-site or on-site visits to
Yeah.
different facilities. What would those visits look like? What do they consist of?
They would consist of going to a company like Coca-Cola.
Okay.
In Chicago, there's a company called Power Packaging. We are thinking of going there. We have someone in contact with them, so we can show people how a food is packaged, something on that lines. There's a Glanbia company in the suburbs of Chicago, so we can tie up with them. We have our contacts because we are from food science department, so we can contact them and request them that our students are interested to have industrial visit, and we can pay a small amount of fee for that.
I just wanted to make sure it's clear to me. So the student activity fund is the last thing you're going to go towards when it comes to getting the funds, correct?
Yes. So initially we'll try to bring it from the food companies, from the alumni who are working in various food companies right now. So they'll be interested to sponsor us because we are going to speak about those things. So our initial steps would be through food companies, restaurants, and then asking alumni itself, and then finally through SAT.
If I may ask, are you all graduate students or undergraduate?
We are graduate students.
So who's going to continue this club when you're essentially graduate?
So
We already have a team of, we've kind of assigned positions to people. So most of the students are the ones who have come this year. So that's what we hope to keep doing. But eventually, once the club starts, we can start talking to the chemical engineering department because we have students who take those courses. We have people who from chemistry who take those courses. So eventually, once we're a team, once we're an official club, we can start reaching out to more people and get undergrads involved.
Do you have an estimate of how many students are enrolled in the program? Food science?
Right now?
Right now, it's 150 right now.
150.
So based on the interest that they're showing, that's how I told you for this semester we are expecting 80 to 100 members. But we eventually want to grow and bring undergrads also to our club.
You mentioned that you wanted a website as part of your promotional material. In your for like your budget, you didn't include a website, or how do you plan to pay?
So for website till now, we have few of our friends. We have some of our friends in IT department who are wanting to come into our club. So they will not charge us for creating a website. Initially, we can have a very basic website, so they won't charge us for that. We are going to have a IT member also in our team, so that's how we are going to do it.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions? Right, thank you. You guys can leave.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Food Science Club. Now we are going to move on with nominations for. All right, that's strange. We have nominations for Vice President of Academic Affairs, and yeah.
Are we going to have a discussion?
After new business finishes. So we're going to discuss the prospective candidates, and after that we're going to start discussing questions.
Is that okay? So give me a minute. I'll call you guys up.
Yeah. Fatiha Muhammad. We'll have 5 minutes. We're just going to tell them why you're interested in this position. Why should you be elected as the
After 10 minutes.
senator or the land? And they're going to ask questions. You don't have to talk for 4 or 5 minutes. Right. Are you ready? Okay.
Hello, I'm Fatia Mohammed. I am a first-year architecture major. I'm a first-year architecture major, and I'm interested in becoming a senator. My main interest is that our campus is very diverse, and our Senate should also be very diverse. And I think that would be my main goal, to give maybe a different view of things. And I plan to help in any way I can for as long as I would be a senator. I don't really have anything else to say right now. So.
Thank you. So senators, you'll have, senators and anyone who's attending, you'll have 5 minutes to ask questions. Please raise your hands.
What are some of the things that you want to accomplish on campus?
Well, I know that a lot of the freshmen don't really know about SGA. I really wasn't aware of it until fairly recently. And I think that if students are more aware of the accomplishments that you guys have done, then they would be more interested in joining and also appreciate what you do. So that's one thing I'd like to accomplish.
So what is the scope of your knowledge about what SGA stands for, represents, or does on campus?
Well, from what I understand, you guys are, I guess, trying to improve campus life in a way, and be the bridge between the student body and the administration to get things to move up, and also you control, or I guess govern the student orgs on campus. And also you do projects to improve certain things on campus, like having the commons, not the commons, but center court open later. Like I heard that was something you guys did.
Okay, so how do you have any specific ideas on how to get freshmen more involved, like you said you'd like to do?
Well, I guess the first thing to do would be maybe to talk about it more during Welcome Week, because there might have been a representative or two, but I might have either not been paying attention or didn't notice, or it obviously didn't stick with me. So I think that getting to us when we're like first stepping in, then that might help. And also maybe sending updates to people, like, oh, we're working on this project. I don't know if that's something that you guys do, but I think that would be nice as well. And also, I guess, letting, especially freshmen, know that you guys are available to, that we're allowed to come to these meetings and ask questions.
Did you have any specific issue in mind before, choosing to run for this position?
Did I have any what?
Any issue you thought was a problem on campus, or something you said,
Potential
okay,
projects.
yeah, I'm going to change this?
Potential projects. Not really. I don't know much of what goes on campus. This is, still my first year. I'm still getting to learn everything. And I think the only issue I've seen is a lack of representation and a lack of understanding from the freshmen. So that's the only thing I've really been able to see.
Are you ready for the time commitment? I know you said you're an archi student. I don't know how many architecture students we have here, but time commitments are pretty strenuous.
Well, if I have to put in the time, I'll make the time, because I'm not being forced to do this. Nobody's telling me to do this. I want to do this.
That's what I said. So you're passionate about it?
I am very passionate about this.
You're going to need it.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Next up, we have Gayatri Tavari.
This was the nomination for Senator from College of Architecture. Now we move on to nominations for Vice President of Academic Affairs. We have 3 nominations. Again, we will be presenting first.
Hey guys, I'm a 5th year architecture major. Time commitment is not an issue. Just letting you know. I've been active on campus pretty much. SGA was actually my first leadership position on campus back in 2013. I've participated in a lot of organizations since then. I was also drafted on the Provost Search Committee by ex-President John Anderson. So I've held several leadership positions. Some of the most important things that I've taken away from them are that it's important to be active. It's important to always put yourself out there and keep doing things to try and achieve better things for the student life. I personally have grown a lot because of all the leadership experiences. SGA has had a major role to play in that for putting me forward. But I also think that this opportunity needs to be made available to students campus-wide. For whatever reason, we all know it's a done deal that students like to complain more than they like to participate. So I've seen that firsthand over various different things. But I'm pretty sure through the different things that I've done on campus, as you guys would have read in my application, I was part of a board that succeeded in increasing student interest in my Construction Management Association of America chapter. We increased a lot of participation in the TEDx chapter. So those are the things I've been part of and I like to do. But you guys can ask me anything else you'd like to know about me. Yeah.
Thank you. Comments or questions?
Yeah.
What are some potential projects you're planning to pursue at VP of Academic Affairs?
One of the major things that I want to pursue is the opportunity to find a way to make a framework between the 4 major universities in Chicago. When I was at MIT and Harvard in Boston and saw the way that the classes work in those universities, where students can take classes in a Harvard student can take class in MIT and still have that count towards their degree. And that's not because those are big Ivy League schools, but it's mostly to do with the fact that both schools trust the other schools education and the level to which they're helping their students. So being in Chicago, being in a place where we have so many good universities, we're missing out a major opportunity by not collaborating with them, because we're not trying to undermine or say that we're not good at this, or you're not good at this, so come to our school for this. But limited resources or whatever the reason might be, we're missing out on a very big opportunity to actually collaborate and make all the schools stand out even more. So that's one thing that I would like to really pursue this semester.
Going off that, how would you plan on actually accomplishing that? Because you said you're a fifth-year Archie, so this is probably your last semester, and this project would take more than the rest of the semester, I think, to accomplish. So how would you go about it?
I think that's the beauty of SGA, that it's not a one-person project. Anytime, any place, a person comes up with an idea, but SGA makes it possible for that project to sustain beyond that person. So I'm hoping that the committee that I get to work with, if I become the VP of Academic Affairs, they're going to be willing enough to keep this moving forward. And just considering the output that this project would have, I don't see this project just dying if I'm not there to see over it.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you plan on tackling the position as VP of Academic Affairs? Because you've never been on a committee before.
I've actually been. I was a senator of College of Architecture, and I worked in the Academic Affairs Committee under Akeem, who was the president. The way I see it is it's still a team game, and the best part would be to work with the people and find out what their interests are and what the projects are, and see how all those projects can be moved. And just, there could be multiple projects, because obviously there's more than one people on the committee, but the idea is to take everybody and move forward with it.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Jay Takia.
Hey, good evening, guys. I'm Jeff from from Information Technology major, and this is my first year. And I've been nominated for the VP of Academic Affairs. So, just talking about my past experiences of leadership and management, I come from a computer engineering background where I've been into the member of council for 2 consecutive years, and only one student can have that. So, I've been into the role of athletics coordinator, wherein I've organized the sports festivals single-handedly, accumulating the sponsorship from the big companies, sports companies like Yonex and everything, and also taking care of the inter-school level competitions on the same way. And because of this work, I have been promoted to the sports secretary position. So this was about my undergrad, and I have a 3 years work experience into data reporting, and I can create presentations and get the data on fly. And if any analysis comes on the way, I'm very much sure to do that. So also one more thing, as a part of my work experience, this was just a cultural event that my company always organizes, and they choose 9 people out of 3,000 to become the Galaxy managers, where Galaxy is just a term for the floor, and where one floor has 3,000 candidates, associates, wherein we just have to participate into it, and the role of the Galaxy manager is to make the maximum participation out of the entire event. So. And I had been chosen to become the Galaxy manager, and not only that, I've been also won the position of the best Galaxy manager among the 3,000 candidates that were there. So this is what my background is. And being a VP of Academic Affairs, as I mentioned already in the notes, I actually plan to, since it is a very diverse background, so I actually plan to have a meet and greet session during every start of the semester between the students and the professors as an informal meet, wherein they get to know each other, and they are not limited only to themselves, and they can have the best of the class participation that they can. So this is just the base of it, and I'm sure once I get into the position, I can think of other projects that I can execute it well. So that's it from my side. Yeah.
Do you have a vision for the future of SGA?
Vision, as such, a vision would be like as SGA is working towards the benefit of student life, I would actually plan it out as to whatever the current projects are, to leverage it to that level wherein it becomes very easy for the other SGA members as well to have it executed. Also, once I get onboarded on the team, I plan to generate new ideas and think of the other projects that can benefit from them. Yeah.
Can you elaborate more about your understanding for the position that you're running for?
Yeah, basically, when it comes to Vice President of Academic Affairs, what I feel is that, since it comes into the SGA boarding, what I presume from that is that, being my role, I need to find out the challenges from an academic point of view that the university is facing, that the students are facing, and need to get that resolved. Yeah.
A scenario, right? Let's say the grades at the school aren't so good, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would you do to try and bring up those grades? What do you tell the professors or the students you should do to bring up the grades? How do you tackle that?
Yeah, so maybe over here, since we already collect, during the admission, we already collect data of all the students, their background, from where they come, right? So in this case of scenario, we have the history data with us, and we can just analyze as to, why the students' grades are not coming up so well. We can research about their backgrounds, and we can discuss the same with professors, or if there is any methodology that they can change to, get the understanding of students better in that way. Yeah, yeah.
Have you ever worked with or had any experience with SGA before?
No, this is my first. This would be my first time with SGA. I haven't worked with SGA before. Yeah.
So haven't you managed to, get familiar with the whole process, whereas we only have not that much time?
Yeah, correct.
For your
So of course, I mean, since I don't have much of the courses this time, so I can actually put in more time into knowing about the processes of SGA and get them productive quickly. Yeah.
Do you have any other time commitments, student orgs that you're participating in?
So far, I do not have any other time commitments, and I'm open to work the most I can, because I'm really passionate about this work. Yeah. Yeah.
I like your idea, the one that you had for the library, for having some sort of system so that people don't have to wait there all the time.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
I really like that about your application.
Yeah.
Would you consider still participating in SGA?
Yeah, I would.
To get that accomplished, I feel that fits more into what
a student life part of it, other than the academic affairs. Yeah, certainly. I mean, since I'm working towards the benefit of the student life, it's not only specific or concentrating only to the role of Vice President of Academic Affairs, but if got an opportunity to work into SGA for other projects, I'll be more than happy to work there as well. Yeah. So one of the things that I had mentioned was to benefit the students, because they have a long queue to wait near the Galvin Library. So one of the idea that I had proposed, I have already mentioned that on the notes in the form actually. Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you.
No, thank you so much.
Next up, we have Meghna Patel.
Hello everyone, I'm Meghna Patel. I'm pursuing my master's in ITM, that's Information Technology and Management. This is my first year. The position that I applied to is Vice President of Academic Affairs. The position itself actually attracted me to nominate myself, because it has a big weightage and big responsibility, since being a mediator between the student body and the university administration. The skills that I have, that matches with this position is, I think I am very friendly kind of a nature, and I am very approachable. The reason behind this is, or the example that I can give is, I was earlier an organizer at one of my undergraduate college event, that's Prerna. There I was an organizer and a volunteer too. For the propagation of the event, we used to go to different colleges, and there the students used to easily approach to me. And I used to explain them about different events and help them in the registration of that. The other thing is, here at IIT, I have been a career and college mentor at the Illinois Tech Global Leaders Program. So I have helped the other college juniors in their essay evaluation and helping them in college selection and application process. So this is the brief overview of myself. Any questions? Yeah.
Questions?
what would you hope to tackle as a vice president of academic affairs? What issues or what issues do you see?
One of the issue that I see over here is not an issue, just the course evaluation and the instructor evaluation that happens at the end of the semester. That we can have it at the end of the semester, but we should have it at the after few weeks of the college start. We should have this because some students face problems like they have registered for the courses, and then after looking the teaching pattern of the professor and the course, they find it that the professor is not good. So we can keep like that a survey kind of a thing after 4 to 5 weeks, that what students like in the professor, or what its teaching style, what it doesn't like. So it would help them in the rest of the semester also, rather than at the end of the semester. And then if we would keep it at the beginning, then the rest of the semester would not get wasted.
Yeah. So you're going to become the chair, if you become VP of Academic Affairs, you become the chair of the committee. Have you ever had experience chairing a committee or kind of orchestrating conversation between the committee members?
Not yet really, but I have a work experience. I have a 2 year of work experience in my in India. I was working with an IT industry. There I was an analyst. So my main role was to interact with the clients, and I was basically a liaison between the development team and the clients. So I have a good communication skills, so I can help with it. Any other questions?
Yeah, so if you found yourself in a position such as you brought up before, how you want to move when course evaluations are done. So say you want to do that, and say you pitch this idea and you find the administration and the professors saying, no, that's a terrible idea, what would you do then? Because you still think it's a fantastic idea, maybe the students think it's a fantastic idea. How do you combat that?
I would explain the professor that what are the benefits of it. I mean, how it can help the students and not the professor itself. I mean, I can. It would not help the students also, but it can help the professor also, that to know that whether the students are getting its knowledge or not. I mean, the main role of professor is to make the students understand, and if it doesn't, how do we say, if it doesn't meet its goal, then it's not the one.
Any other questions? Thank you.
I got one more. Yeah, in terms of time commitment, are you involved in any other organizations on campus, or how's your time commitment look?
Yeah, I'm just a college and career mentor here at Illinois Tech Global Leaders Program, but I'm for that only around in 2 or 3 months. Just one workshop happens, so I'm available. And the courses that I have taken in this semester are also very light, easy, so I can handle it.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you. So, nominees. First, we'll have the discussion about Food Science Club. Are there any members of Food Science Club?
Can we leave?
You guys can leave. You can stay for a discussion for Food Science Club too, if you're interested. Yeah. You can stay for the Food Science Club discussion. Yeah. We'll have 5 minutes of discussion starting now. Jeremy.
This was probably the most prepared and put together organization pitch I've heard in the past 2 years.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Wow. I was thoroughly impressed. They had everything together. They were super prepared. They had all members positioned. Wow, that was That's fantastic.
Yeah. Leo?
I just want to echo what he just said. It was fantastic. They have clear visions. They have clear goals. They know what they want to do on campus. And to my knowledge, I don't think there is anything similar to that. They have a program, and they need some place to get together. And I can see it like benefiting the undergrads and the grads at the same time. What I end by saying is, I hope we all agree on that. And if somebody does not agree, please go ahead and say what you have to say. But for the sake of time, if we all agree on this, we can just go ahead and vote. But if you oppose, please say something.
Do you have any contrasting opinions? Shubarno?
Does anybody remember there was somebody else pitched food science before? Is that organization inactive? Did it not get passed through Senate before? Does anybody remember?
It did not get passed through Senate.
But they did approach us, didn't they?
That was maybe 2 years ago, I think. It was a long time.
Is everybody on the same page? Any contrasting opinions? All right. Now we'll proceed to vote on Food Science Club. Starting now. A, yes, B, no, C, abstain. There's that quickest working.
What's the number we're looking for?
20.
22?
20.
20.
Make sure you work.
Just do it. 18.
What? 18 is right. See. Food Science Club approved.
That's the first time I've ever seen that.
Just as a point of information, this group was so nervous about coming to talk to you all today, they came to my office earlier to practice their presentation. Like, they didn't go through the whole thing, but like, I looked at each and every slide they had.
Thank you, Ryan.
They asked me to do the same thing too.
They were really nice to be here.
They were so prepared.
All right. Thank you.
How to give a presentation 101.
Yeah. So now we'll have discussion about College of Architecture. Senator nominee Fatia Mohammed for 5 minutes. And then we'll vote. Starting now. Raise your hands, please. Shubarno.
How do you spell her name?
Later. Any other comments? Please mute your phones.
I think she's a good fit. I think the most important thing she said there was she's passionate about it and she's willing to put the time. And although she was a bit shy, I think she handled the questions fairly well. So, as Leo said before, to save in the interest of saving time, if no one has any objections, let's move to voting.
Any other contrasting opinions, Leo? Yeah.
No, I mean, I personally was doubtful in the beginning. Like, her presentation about joining us and everything, I didn't see through like any passion. I didn't see her committing to it. But I also want to say that she kind of regained herself going forward when we asked her those questions. So I just want to put it out there when we're thinking about our choice to get her in or not.
Any contrasting opinions? All right. Shubarno.
Can I move to white ballot?
What?
What?
No. It means you have to vote twice instead of once.
Oh.
Yeah. Because you have to vote to white ballot and then vote.
Nothing happens. All right. A for yes, she should become a senator. B for no. C for abstain. Starting now.
White ballot means that you just slip up.
Badia is the new senator for College of Architecture.
Do we only have one? Oh wait, no, Tejas is one. Do we have two senators?
Yeah, we have two. Okay, so now I'll need to ask VP of Academic Affairs candidates to. Thank you. you.
So, two people around there.
Oh my god.
All right. So, to save time, we are going to have an overall discussion about all candidates for 7 minutes. If we run out of time, I'll extend it. Our 3 candidates are Gayatri, Jay, and Meghna, in order of speaking. And our 7 minutes starts now. Akash.
I think Gayatri is probably the most qualified among all other 3 candidates, and she has past experience working with the Senate, and I liked her presentation. Her responses were very adequate for her position. I think she has a vision, and she brings that to the table.
Morgan.
I second that statement, and I really appreciate her idea of being able to connect with multiple universities, because there are a lot of universities around the United States that do this, and it would be a great opportunity for IIT to reach out to other campuses. And she's also the only person that's ever worked with SGA before.
I mean, but I said the second candidate showed more passion to me in the way that he would just try to overcome his unfamiliar with his circumstances, and then try to walk on his way to this that position, and also his vision about the library issue is it's not related to academic affairs, but it's also show that they actually care about what's the campus life is about and students.
Morgan.
I think he's passionate about student life, and if he was running for student life, I would say that he would be a great candidate. But since he's running for academic affairs, I'd rather him join the student life committee.
Well, the clear distinctions you don't know about it until you come here, right? I mean, you use this a student running for that. I mean, of course you have to do research, but the distinction between those things is kind of overlapping, I think.
Irma.
Yeah. I agree. I think the first person was the one who's most qualified for the VP position. But yeah, I agree with that. You can tell the passion that the other 2 students had, and both of them being graduate students, having this much interest in what they can do here at IIT. That's what we've been trying to do this whole time, or we've always talking about, but we've never really done. I don't think we've really accomplished that. Or maybe this is what we've accomplished, getting their attention into wanting to participate. And I agree, he had some great ideas. I think the one at the library, I don't know how we didn't think of that earlier, or if we did, why we haven't done more about it, because those students are there waiting for a good half an hour, if not more. So I think if they're not chosen to be in the position, they should at least be approached by the exec board and really have every member of the exec board let them know that their ideas are greatly appreciated, and really encourage them to take part of SGA. I don't know if they would be willing to, because I wouldn't want them to feel discouraged because they didn't win or they didn't get the position, to be like, oh, well, then I'm not going to join at all. No, we could definitely use their help or their inputs and just reaching out graduate students. So.
Noted that. Thank you. Sini.
Second
Yeah. Any other comments? Questions? Any other comments about Jay and Meghna?
He also, if you look at his candidate packet, he also talks about extending the scope of the SGA in terms of he talks about meet and greets, at the beginning of the semester with classes, which is one of the things that we've been talking about is getting more exposure and stuff like that. So I think Jay, I'm talking about Jay, he understands that. What the shortfalls are of SGA, even from a distance. He's an intelligent guy, and I think him being very driven, I like that idea. And I don't think you should hold against him that he doesn't really have any experience with SGA, because you have to, because I think it's maybe his 2nd semester here, and Gayatri's been here for 5 years, or this is her 5th year, and he's looking for experience with SGA. This may be his opportunity to get involved. And I also think that we should include graduate students. I don't think we have any graduate students.
Xavier.
I agree with what William is saying, but I can't remember the first candidate name.
Gayatri, first candidate, second candidate Jay, third candidate Meghna.
I think this is her last year here. to the last semester. I think we should give what she wants to get done, well, the project she wants to get started. I think we should give her that opportunity to get it started. Whereas he'll be here still, and maybe next semester we can bring him in. So let's give her,
Yeah.
Around the same lines, but for the opposite people. So I think Gayatri has experience with IIT, with SGA, and she would be able to give, to get like this term a good ending. She already has the experience. She already knows what to do once she gets in. Whereas he is going to have some time to get used to the people, to get used to the conversations they're having, to readjust to whatever has been set already. And it's going to take him some time to actually start applying those ideas that he has. I would love to have him, but I think he'll be an ideal candidate if he runs for a full term on the upcoming elections, whereas Gayatri would be better fit to take on this temporary term.
Alyssa?
I don't know if this is possible, but has there ever been a case where we have like co-VPs for a committee? No, is that not possible? Okay, never mind.
Oh wait, Srisha.
I thought Jay was really passionate about like what he wanted to do with SGA, and like he didn't have any experience with SGA, but he was willing to like learn about the position, really fast, and he didn't really have any other time commitments. So I think if he was given a chance, he would like really excel like pretty quickly and be able to get the opportunity to do it.
Okay, so if one of these candidates has a great project idea and they don't get elected, that shouldn't stop us from not pursuing that project. So if you like a candidate or based off their project and they don't get it, do that project then. There's nothing stopping you.
Sure.
Who are the senators in academic affairs?
You
are? Who would you like to be led by? Let's talk about that. Make more comments on that.
I like Jay more. I think I can't remember the first.
Gayatri?
Gayatri. I think she's more intimidating. She's intimidating, but I think he would be better to approach on ideas, and he'd be more understanding than she would. I think she would be more do this, no if ands or buts, but he'd be more willing to bend and try to work with you.
Thank you.
I move to extend time by 2
minutes. Seconded.
2 minutes?
Yes. Let's go to 5.
Yeah, it's going to 5.
Let's go to 5.
This is kind of along the lines of what Leo said. I do agree that Jay was very passionate, but at the same time, given the amount of time that is left, I think Gayatri can do the most productive work in the given time. She knows the logistics, and just based off of that, she can make the most progress in this semester, whereas Jay's going to take a bit of time to adjust, which is like none of his fault. It's just if we want work to get done, we need someone who can initiate that.
Irma.
I agree with that and what's been said. And yeah, if he is passionate, I agree with sort of what Alyssa was getting at. We're not going to create a new position or make them co-VPs, but we could encourage him and the other girl, to partake and be part of that committee and see if it's something they really want to do and kind of be trained by whoever becomes the VP, so she's going to be more experienced about it. And the VP that we're leaning more towards right now, she's the one who's all for, teaching whatever she's learned throughout her years here at IIT, and she'd be willing to lead or train whoever we see fit that would want to run for that position. So I don't know if whoever runs for that position, they'd be part of the election process. That's going to
I'll email all the nominees about the upcoming elections and nominations, and also about the opportunities they can come to committee meetings, so I'm going to inform them about that. Gina.
So I think experience is definitely part of the battle, but it's not 100% of the battle. Last year, we had a special election. I was up against a more qualified candidate, and Senate took a chance on me, and I definitely, took time to learn. People worked with me, was quick to learn. So I think passion is definitely key here. I think Jay is.
So I'm going to stop the time. Who else has questions and comments? Raise your hands up high. Okay, Jeremy?
I think, Gayatri, is that right?
Yes.
Gayatri. Nailed it. Gayatri and Jay are, yeah. I mean, they both be good in the position. I guess my concern with Jay is that I feel like by the time he gets around to actually being fully comfortable with the position, leading a committee, working with the administration, his term would be up already. I feel like, yeah, like by the time he gets to that point, he'd already be done, which is unfortunate. Like have him on a committee. I would be happy to nominate him myself for VP of Academic Affairs like next year, so that he gets another shot at running for it. But I think giving him some time in SGA first would be better.
Leo. Just responding to Yannick, your thoughts about Gayatri. I would like to tell you that I personally know her. I've known her for at least 2 years. She's a very nice person, very funny. I know she seemed intimidating. I see where you're coming from as the first time meeting her. But she's super nice and funny, and I personally see her as a good leader for the committee and for this short term. And another thing, not to put you on the spot, Gina, but a sincere question would be, after you were chosen for that position, how much do you think you were able to accomplish in such a short term?
I think that I was able to accomplish everything that my committee wanted to accomplish at the time. Because I think that most of the senators were able to get their projects completed, or at least to a good stopping point.
Can you give us an example of what those projects were?
Please raise your hand.
Yeah, I do.
I don't. Go ahead and ask a question.
Yeah, can you give us some of those examples?
Yeah, so going into the position, I know Mete came in as a senator, and there was a project he was really passionate about. So I really tried to support him on.
I don't know what position, because I was.
Yeah, so last semester we had a special election for VP of Student Life, so Leo's current position. I don't really remember like exact projects, but I remember that Mete got to a good point. Billy Bafia, if any of you know him, got to a good stopping point.
Oh.
I don't know how important this point is to people in this room, but it's important to people outside of SGA. I remember the last exec board that got elected was all men, and that became a problem for the outside people because they thought it was manpower. There's no women in the exec board, so they thought they were not being valued. So I think Gayatri or Meghna would bring that diversity and would help that exec board attract people from the outside as well.
Stuart, and that's the last.
My question is, who's going to be in charge of transitioning whoever gets the position?
Rahul?
Tell us about that, how that's going to look like with each candidate.
Well, I'll probably meet them sometime this weekend or early next week, depending on our schedules. I will update them on what's happening in the committee, the projects that Viraj gave me. I will also include Viraj in that conversation if he has some things to add. I will also include that committee if they have some things to add. I would like for that committee to meet before that committee meeting, if they could, with that VP, so that they could, break the ice, get some stuff going, catch up, so that committee meeting would be useful and not just a nice thing.
Right. Thank you. Now we'll proceed to voting. Starting now, you have the options up here. 18. Thank you. Gayatri is our new VP of Academic Affairs. Now we move on to officer reports. Rahul.
This is weird, standing here. Thank you for calling my name finally. My arm is tired. Hello, everybody. The first point I want to talk about is Jay. As you all must have heard with what happened last week, it was really sad. As SGA, we showed our support to his family. We had the ceremony, the vigil for him after the event. It was a nice event. And the most important point right now is that we're starting a GoFundMe for him, for his 3 daughters. His 3 daughters, I think there are 2 stepdaughters and then, or 2 half daughters and 1 real daughter. And
he wanted them to get a college education, something he cannot provide now. So as a school, this is something we want to do for him. So we're trying to raise money to buy bonds for his family, for his daughters, so they can cash in when they go to college and hopefully help them pay. The information will be out soon. We're working with the president of BSU, who is Khadija Nesbitt, and hopefully by tomorrow the information will be out. Second point is exec board nominations are open. It hit me really hard yesterday that I only have 2 months left. It's making me sad. I really being part of this committee, part of this group. You guys have been fantastic. But I encourage you to nominate the next people to lead this organization to great heights. Third point, PSAC updates. So we realized that there's no First Amendment rights to students. So the school can hold any student accountable to what they say. This means, we cannot protest about things the school is against, and we thought, this is something we should work towards, to allow students to protest, do something. I know there was also a point where we might even work on a protest space on this campus, so any student can go to that space. They don't need to reserve it or anything, they can protest.
Just want to let you guys know that the First Amendment rights are actually limited within private
universities.
So
Yeah.
just want to
So the private university.
might think
Yeah.
is actually free out public places. Not that
Yeah.
free.
Being a private university, we don't have that, but that's something we can work towards as a university. The second point is comparing costs of living on and off campus. The PSAC want to compare that to make on-campus living more desirable to students. So we're going to see, ways that, do we have to reduce costs to attract more students, or why are our costs higher than living off campus? What are the things we can do to attract more students to campus? There's a survey going around right now. I think it's a closed survey, so the people running it are going to do it themselves. They'll reach out to the people, but it's just an update. And then the third point is encouraging Board of Trustees to participate on campus. Career fairs, we've noticed that a lot of Board of Trustees companies don't come to the career fairs. Like we had Duchess Welcome last year. A lot of Board of Trustees have shown interest but don't know how to come back to our students to help them, because they don't want to just help monetarily. They want to meet with the students. They want to see the impacts they're making on the lives of students. So that's something the PSAC is working on. I have a presentation to them February 18th. If you guys have any points you want to bring up to them, it doesn't only have to be about participation, just anything about on campus. I'm going to talk about the various things. If you have any points, I'll probably show you guys the presentation before I take it to them as well. Please give them to me. And I think that's what I have. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a question.
Question.
Speaking of the campus living, has PSAC had any update or information regarding the abandoned housing that's near the edge of campus near Keating?
So it's a tricky part. Actually, I got that update from the Board of Trustees themselves, and President Crime gave it to us as well. So the tricky part is that those buildings are, it's going to cost too much to renovate them, and the school doesn't have that money right now. So the two things we can do, either break them down and build new ones or renovate them. The thing is, Board of Trustees don't want to put a lot of money into buildings that don't have their name on it, or they say the building is old, I want a cooler building, I want new facilities in it. But since they're Mies van der Rohe buildings, their society will not let us tear them down. So it's a really tricky argument that we're having.
I mean, it's just because this is such a small campus in itself already, and if we're trying to get more students to live on campus, I mean, that's just one of the major problems.
President Kram has stated that that's one of his major goals. He wants to make at least that part of campus more lively as well. He thinks that's resources we're not using. And again, it's really tricky. There's a lot of politics that goes behind it. But hopefully something will be done soon. Siobhan?
One of the points that was brought up by the president is that opening those buildings would make the area more lit, so it would be safer. Too high. But he's also mentioned that since current housing that we have, MSV, SSV, Carmen Gonzalez, they're not at full capacity, so that we don't really have a good excuse to move forward with more room in the school.
Any other questions? Last point. Sungmin, can you please come up? It's this fantastic SGA member's birthday today, so can we all sing? Come here, man. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
I'm officially planning an SGA corner. It's gonna be fun.
I've officially never seen that.
Next report is VP of Communications.
Hold on.
Spoiler alert. You changed it?
No. Oh, I'm writing weird Gucci. Take minutes. Take minutes. Oh. So I'm very pleased that my department is expanding. We have a lot of volunteers along with my senators. We have the Scheimer senator is joining ComCom. We have one Vandercook student involved in ComCom, which is great. Several other volunteers as well. I'm hoping they get t-shirts at some point. We're working on a lot of projects. We came up with 20 and we have 12 people, so it's going to be a stretch, but we believe we can complete them. One of the projects is for the service part of our committee. We're going to be collaborating with a big event. Media Advisory Board is currently working on the selection process for Tech News Editor. I think this is a job for the entire SGA. We're also going to be helping with the election promotion. We're designing buttons for the senators, so I expect to see buttons soon, both as giveaways and to wear when you're presenting at the bridge. And make sure you document all your projects. All the projects you're working on, document them for transition to the new exec, for transition next semester to the new senators if you're not going to run again. And work on your projects, get a good understanding of it, plan ahead, and make sure you finish what you started.
Spoiler.
Get it? I'll finish what you started?
Yeah, right.
I don't get it.
That's kind of creepy.
What?
Leo. Force Awakens yet? Who the hell? That's why.
I've never watched any of them. Anyway.
What?
Never seen it.
You are so uncultured.
I have not. Anyway, so 3 quick things. Guys, please. Town Hall is on Monday. People need to come. We need as many voices as we can. It's going to be about public safety, for those of you who haven't heard me say 5 times already. So please spread the word. I can't alone just keep posting things, sharing with my friends. If we all share it here, if every person in this room brings 1 or 2 people with you, we're going to fill out that space easily. So please share with your friends. 2 things. What? MTCC Welcome Center, Monday.
The same place.
12:30. Yes, same place as last town hall. 2 things that I discussed last time. The IT Today survey that William's working on, we're still looking 7 responses, which is really sad because we have more than 20 people here. So please respond to that. I added a tiny URL so you can write it now or remember it. And there's the IIT app feedback. We're going to have a meeting very soon with OTS, so we would like to have as much feedback as we can before going in there. Yes?
Who's going to have the meeting with OTS? The committee?
I forgot, it wasn't, who was sent that email? Xavier? And William?
But I'm not gonna. I have class till 12:40, so I'm meeting him. I guess because you guys are meeting him at noon.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm meeting with him ASAP after class, so in the same place, just to go over the same thing.
You'll probably be still there until
Yeah.
then.
No,
yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, 3 people. But you're welcome to join. Please do.
Can you guys make a tutorial of how to install the app on the
Please.
iPad?
I can't get it to work.
I think
So
it
can't
does
get
not
it
work on
down?
iPad yet. It's just for mobile, the phone
Yeah.
at the moment.
It works on my phone.
So it won't work on your iPad.
It won't work on my iPhone.
iPhone.
What does it come with a message like it's not trusted?
No, it did that. It says that it like can't run on my device or something. I have no idea.
Which iPhone do you have?
It like downloads the app, but when I click on the app,
A little box comes up.
Yes.
It's white. Just go to settings, and then I think devices, and then you just go to and then you go to developers. I can do it right after.
Okay.
Alright guys, for the sake of time, we're going to wrap this up. If you have problems with your phones, Talk to us after the meeting, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Leo.
Oh, I have a question, sorry, about the surveys, was that only meant for SGA members to fill out?
For
Yeah,
so,
yeah, for now.
So
For-
initially, the
okay.
plan is that SGA members fill it out. We just want to get feedback about how the survey is set. What kind of questions do you think we should add more questions? There's like at the bottom of it, there's specific questions for you guys. Once we get that feedback, we're gonna improve on it and then send it to student way. Rahul,
When is your committee dinner?
Huh?
When's your committee dinner?
I have not decided yet. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Thank you, Leo. Dinner. Finance board chairs, judicial board chairs. Events coordinator, turn.
All right, Friday, April 22nd. Everyone can take out your phones right now.
No.
Mark your calendars. All you guys should be there. It's basically kind of a last hurrah for you guys before the semester ends and the year ends. By that point, the new exec board will be elected. So yeah, that's going to be in the Pritzker Club on April 22nd. It'll be formal attire. Committees, chairs should be giving out awards and stuff to people, and it's going to be a good time. What?
Is it evening time, all day? Or
Evening. It's a dinner, so it's probably around 5:36.
It doesn't interfere
6:30.
with IPRO, right?
What was that?
It doesn't interfere with IPRO? IPRO's on that day.
Friday.
Yeah, it's going to be 6:30, so I think that's after.
I'm not sure how
I'm like
any classes.
95%
In
sure.
fact, you'll all be wearing business attire for iPro. You're gonna have to change.
iPro is over by.
So you don't have to
Please
change, right?
raise your
You're
hand
supposed
I
to
think
speak.
awards are at 2 o'clock, so it's normally over by 3.
So yep, 6:30.
Thank you. No centers report. Now we move on to open floor. So first of all, as Rahul mentioned, nominations are open. This is the nomination link. Yeah, Rahul.
After your
This is it.
Okay. Student gift is gonna have a kickoff celebration. They're gonna have, what's the game again, do you know?
It's like Family Feud style, but it's more like if you go to Buffalo Wild Wings and you just see like the trivia. It's like that. Yeah.
So they want teams from different student orgs. SG is one of the biggest student orgs, so they want a team from us. So they want a team of 5, so I was thinking you can break down by committees, or if we don't have that many people, we can just make 1 or 2 teams. You want to make with your friends from different committees, whatever you like. I want to facilitate that. So if you guys want to make a committee, can you find the people you want to be in your committee and send me the email of the names of the people in that team? 1 or 2 teams from SG would be fantastic.
It's February 25th.
Oh yeah, February 25th. Thursday in the fall, free food. Free food.
Yeah,
free
Summit.
food in the ball. And a lot of food. Good food.
Summit.
Make sure you have money to donate to student gift as well.
Is this under BSU?
No, this is under student gift.
Okay.
Thank you. Now, as we discussed last meeting, there will be a moderated caucus on new fire alarm policy. It will be a total of 20 minutes because we have time, and we'll have 1.5 minutes per speaker. So I'll time that. First, I'd like to invite Arlene, President of RHA, to give an introductory speech.
Good evening, everyone. So, first of all, I just want to say that RHA has been in contact with our jail staff and Dean Stetz about the fire alarm policy. We've had a few conversations among the board ourselves and from students who have come to us asking to have clarification on the subject. So what we have basically found is that the, just a few pointers, the fine that is supposed to be charged to students after an alarm is pulled, that is only if, first of all, it's in the case of negligence. So if it's not something that could have been somehow avoided, and in the case that someone does not own up to being the cause of being the culprit. So if someone pulls the alarm and they own up to pulling the alarm, then they will be charged themselves and not the entire community. Also, if it's a situation where someone was using their hairdryer or they burn popcorn and they say that, okay, it was me, then the whole community will not be charged. Secondly, recently it has been decided that the full fine of, I think it was $500 or something was said before, but that full fine would not be charged. It would just be a smaller fine once the person owns up to it. So, and also in the case that no one owns up, which has not happened yet, at the end of the entire year, then the fee will be assessed to the entire community, just like a regular room charge fee for improper checkout or something like that.
Right. No questions now. We'll have the 1.5 minute, 20-minute caucus, so you can bring up your questions. So, speaker time, as I said before, 1.5 minutes. Set. We start now with Poshak. Oh. You don't have to come up here. You can speak there.
Okay, right. Hey guys, I'm Poshak and I'm an undergrad for those of you who don't know me. Well, right, regarding the new fire alarm policy, basically, first of all, this charging business, owning up to it, charging. Fire security is something that we're paying for as residents of the halls. And two, first of all, if you want to stop these, fire alarms, first thing, a new policy could be like banning popcorn.
No.
That's
No. Please wait for your turn.
Dude, think about it. Like 90% of the fire alarms, or rather most of them, is like popcorn put in and people forget about it because of homework and whatever they're doing. And then it not only inconveniences them by burning their popcorn, but the entire community. And especially dude, at 2 a.m. in the morning, I'm not exactly in the mood for to get out of my room because of the alarm and socialize with the rest of the campus. So stopping the entry of popcorn would be a good idea. Instead of selling popcorn, those make it yourself packets, if you could market it as ready-made popcorn, whether in center court or anywhere else, that would be a better idea, as the students don't have to make it themselves. And or you could put in the vending machines instead of getting those make it yourself packets. That would help a lot. And second of all, as for the idea of charging students who
Thank you. Sammin?
Just to make it short, it's a common misconception that most fire alarms are caused by popcorns or food burning in the microwave. In reality, as far as the year has gone by and as far as I've heard, all the fire alarms are caused by accidental things. By example, a little bit of vapor, water vapor hitting the fire alarm. Those fire alarm, the sensors the fire detectors are very sensitive, so every little things can trigger it, like little not dust particles, sprays, water vapor, smacking the fire alarm really hard. All of them will actually set them off. And the conception of popcorn causing fire alarm every scenario, and 90% of the time, is actually, that hasn't been the case. Maybe it might have been last year. I'm not too sure regarding the numbers on that. But I know that most of the accidental fires were not accidental, but not all of them were from food. So if we have to take into consideration popcorn. We also have to take into consideration all the other foods that can cause the same mistake, and anything that might trigger that fire alarm accidental, like hairspray or something along those lines.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll have to second what's on, because over the summer, and granted this during the semester, not over the summer, but over the summer, while I was working here, a lot of the fire alarms were just set off from very things you probably wouldn't even imagine, like leaving the hairdryer on for too long, or just something that is not food related. So it's not always something that's food related.
Quinn.
Okay, a couple of questions. So when we're talking about someone does not own up to setting the fire alarm off, we're talking about a $500 charge per student, or over the whole community as a whole?
Over the whole community.
So it's about a few cents on the dollar for everyone. Okay.
And then it accumulates over time.
How much does it accumulate?
Like, I think you meant more of a, so
Please
if it
raise your
happens in MSV, would entire MSV be charged, or just the halls if they happen in Lewis, just the Lewis, or if it happen on the third floor?
It depends on location, but mostly they depend on just the building, based off the location.
The hall? Would be the
Yeah, just the
Lewis
halls,
hall?
yeah.
Okay.
This is James Thomas, everybody. He's one of the residence hall directors.
And so it's not $500 per student per fire alarm. Okay. And then, so how are we defining negligence?
So, negligence was defined to me by, as a situation where it is like the alarm was set off and it's something that you could have avoided. So let's say you put popcorn in the microwave or some kind of food and then you leave it for 10 minutes and you just walk away. Then, that's not how you properly use a microwave. There are signs in all of the lounges that tell you how you should go about using microwaves for different foods. So that would be negligence, something like purposefully setting off an alarm, putting a match to an alarm or to a detector or something like that. That's
Yeah, so it seems to me like it would be
Yuma.
mostly handled as a case.
Please raise your hand.
I didn't look that way. Okay, yeah, so who makes the decisions in this case? Like who does that person then own up to and who's in charge of deciding if it was negligence or not? So is it RHA, is it RGL staff? Is it WRHA?
It's the RHA.
Okay.
Thank you. Alyssa?
I just have a question about the whole, like, just the hall gets fined, correct, if the microwave goes off, but like who's to say, like, cause say like I want to make popcorn, but I have a bad history of burning all my popcorn all the time, so I'm just gonna go over to grad hall and make my popcorn there. So if the fire alarm goes off, I'm not gonna get charged for it. Like, how do you like decipher like whether or not? Cause I feel like that could also be an issue, or if you just do the floor and like, oh, I'm just gonna go up one floor and make my popcorn, so that way I don't get charged for it and stuff like that.
Yeah, so comment. Yeah, we also had that problem last year where when microwaves got taken away from that floor, they would just go to the other floors. So that would definitely happen where if you guys removed all the microwaves from one hall, they would just go to the other hall and then still set up a fire alarm.
And same with like the pulled fire alarms. Like if I'm gonna pull a fire alarm, I'm not gonna pull it in my own floor. I'll go somewhere else and pull it just because.
I'll ask a question to avoid on discussion. So if there's a fire alarm in MSV, the whole MSV community will be charged, right? Not the whole?
It's the building, so it also depends on what action has taken place. So a pulled fire alarm, we know most likely that's not somebody that's in the building. Based off of what we found when we called people, they've been from a whole other end of MSV, or I'll be honest, in other complexes altogether. So that would be like an entire MSV thing where we need to figure out who's doing this. But when it comes to like popcorn, most likely, usually it's when someone's using a microwave, they're within that same building and they're not going over a whole other building to use it. And that's when we open up the conversation of, if you know for a fact that, hey, my roommate has a friend that's from a whole other building that comes over here all the time, and I'm pretty sure that's who did it, then we will follow up with that individual. We're not gonna take your word and just say, oh, well, it sounds like you did it because X, Y, because student A said that you did it. So it's going to be more of a conversation to try to get the person to take the responsibility of doing it, because we want to teach a lesson in the same process. We don't just want to, get people in trouble.
Yeah.
I think the easiest solution to that would be have a designated area where you go to pop your popcorn. Where, let's say downstairs, where it's near the front, that's where it won't set off any alarm. Because the problem too is that where the microwaves are in an enclosed room right next to the alarm. So what happens is, well, when I make my popcorn, I go by the window, crack it open, and I open my popcorn and let the hot air out. Because if you do it near the sensor, it's going to set off regardless. So it doesn't even have to overcook. Because last semester, someone opened it right there and it went off.
So that's been something we've talked about. So again, if students were really feeling like that would be a good solution, the good process would be to go through RHA to submit a proposal to RGL for that to take place. But Then we also got a lot of feedback that why should I lose my microwave on my floor and I have to go.
No, the microwave
to
stays there,
lounge?
but they can't make the popcorn on the floor. They have to go downstairs to, well, they do it, just gonna set up the alarm locally for Christmas.
Sunman.
The issue is not only popcorn, so we would have to confiscate the microwave for almost everything. I know some people use the microwaves to bake eggs, bake potatoes, and that still releases steam, and that's what causes the fire alarm. On that note, I wanted to ask a question. How have your successes been in catching the person who caused the fire alarm so far?
Since the fine went in place, the pulling of fire alarms have stopped completely, and we've been able to. Everyone has fessed up until this point, so we've been 100% successful since we did the fine.
And the people who have fessed up, I just want to know and keep it in the open. People who have fessed up, do they get less severe punishments in a sense, or what's it called? Severe charges?
Yeah, just like with any type of, like for instance with conduct cases, like when someone is more cooperative, we can work with you more, but when you're just like, I'm not gonna do anything, and it's like now we have to pull up camera footage and we found this information, then it's like you're not taking this as serious as someone that's more so like, I want to tell you the truth, this is what took place, I didn't mean for this to happen, and we can have more of a conversation then and work with you.
Thank you. Morgan?
I don't think that the issue here is I don't think that the issue is them charging. I think that the issue is that that you guys haven't like well defined who actually gets charged and who doesn't actually get charged if they like fess up to pulling a fire alarm. Like, is it fair that you guys are just like, we can basically like pick and choose which students we think like did it, like are like unprocessed? So basically like some students that they were like, oh, I just accidentally used hairspray and it like went off set off the fire alarm. Like, you guys basically make the decision whether or not you think that they should get charged for that. So I think that there should be like a specific process laid out of which things you will get charged for and which things will probably not get charged for. And then also there should be like a different way around it so that if students don't think it's fair, that they should be able to like bring it up with like conduct board or something like that. Because I don't think that that's like a very good process.
I do like that feedback about the laying out exactly what people will get charged for. So that's something I'm definitely going to be taking back. As far as the if you feel like you've been wrong, there's appeal process with every single decision that RGA makes. So everybody we've met with, they get all the instructions like in every meeting. You lay out, okay, this is what's happening, this is your sanction, this is how you appeal. Make sure you do that, and we're very, very clear about the appeal process because we never want any students to walk away like, well, I just got tricked into all this.
And also on that note, after RHA had discussions with RGL about the situation, we did send out an email to all the residents letting them know what we found and information about like negligence being the main reason for being charged. And we also are always open to have students come in and ask us any questions if there's something that's not clear on or if there's any suggestions that we can further bring to RGL so we encourage that conversation as well.
Tan, you had a question?
I just want to second Sarah's idea about we're not popcorn haters, so please be mine.
Yeah, I think to touch on all the points that were made about the popcorn, we can't ban popcorn because that people continue doing it. And the microwaves, they're not only found in the lounges, people are allowed to have them in the room. So then that would lead to us getting rid of microwaves, like it was mentioned. If we only get rid of them in certain places, people are still going to go to different halls or even different buildings to use the microwaves. And even if we got rid of the ones in the lounges, people will still bring in. I'm sure people have, coffee makers in the rooms, even though they're not allowed in the room. So how would that? I don't think that will stop anyone from sneaking in a microwave and just hiding it, putting it out of sight when RAs do the inspection, because I don't think RAs are allowed to search through your things. So that's not something that we can stop. And then we also have to keep in mind that, as Sung mentioned, most of these incidents are caused by popcorn or food in general. It's also mostly other things. So we're not going to start banning, hair dryers or any other like hairspray or any other things that cause it.
So it seems to me that the main point of this, like everything is just people needing clarification on how much they would have to pay, you know, what would be the consequences, and if it ends up, like if everybody has to pay, like the whole hall is paying for something, it's not gonna be that much money at the end of the day. And if it's only one person that's charged for it, it just needs to be make sure that they're not paying the $500. And also that already kind of discourages people from even doing it at all. So, and oh yeah, the first point I was made was that we are paying as part of our room and board. It is pricey to live on campus, and saying that we're paying to have that sort of like service or not to have so many restrictions is a good point. But at the same time, there's like a line between a reasonable amount of fire alarms and the ones we had. And the ones we had, I think, can definitely be decreased, and they have been decreased, as has been pointed out. So.
Thank you, Emma. We're gonna go Quinn, Alyssa, Rahul, Jeremy. Quinn.
So a couple of concerns and then a suggestion. So number one, the negligence is extremely broad. I don't know if I can think of a situation where we couldn't define it as negligence, where a fire alarm was set off. And another one is that I didn't even consider, we have outsiders coming in, pulling our fire alarm, we get charged, they go off scot-free. It's not cool. We end up paying for it. So then I do know that in Carmen Hall? Gonzalez. If a fire alarm is set off in a room, it's sort of a normal alarm that you can wave the smoke away and fix what's wrong before the whole building gets evacuated. I think it's something that would seriously reduce the number of fire alarms that we have, and it wouldn't have any of these the outsider issue or the negligence issue.
Thank you, Quinn.
Thank you.
Alyssa?
Yes. My question is that when the person fesses up for the negligence of their, like, say they burnt their popcorn and they come to you and they say, like, I did this, do they solely pay the $500 fine and the rest of the hall does not get fined?
No, so it's a decreased fine.
If you
yeah, for the individual and the hall and other community members do not face a fine.
If you fess up, then you face a and then if you're found to have been the person to set off, that's when you pay the $500 fine.
Yeah. So if you have an increased fine if you are found like if you don't come forward.
Okay.
Then it's also more of a kind of process that you're going to go through too.
Okay.
Talk about your project idea.
Oh yeah. So
yeah, we're around seconds. Go ahead.
For my project idea right now for our student life committee is to put this blue dye, which is to defer people from pulling fire alarms on the fire alarms in MSV, because we did have a problem with that at the end of last semester. It's a vegetable-based dye that like spreads with water, so you can't really wash it off your hands, and it lasts for like 4 to 7 days, and it's
This is a thing.
yeah, and so if you pull the fire alarm, it immediately gets on your hand and it spreads all over. So I feel like that's a good way to either catch people who are doing it when they're like entering back into the building if they live there, or
Thank you. Rahul.
Commenting on that, I like that idea. I think it's good, but I think our goal should not only be to scare them from doing it, it should be to educate them from not doing it. So I know RHA and Dean Stets have done a good job with that, where they reach out to the students. All of RGL have done a good job with them, and they reach out to students. They've held floors accountable, and I think they've done a good job. The second point I wanted to bring was for RHA. I know you said a lot of information you spread about all of these things to clarify. A lot of stuff was to residents. I would say do it to outside, do it to the whole school, all the students that come in, because I know a lot of people want to live on campus who are afraid of that. And I know it's been brought up in the PSAC as well, where people who are off campus and are considering it, or people just don't know about it. And a lot of people over here are commuters as well, so they just don't know what's happening. So if you could reach out to off campus people, it would really help.
Jeremy.
Okay. You
sort of touched on the first point that I wanted to make. So a lot of times, I lived in the dorms in MSV last fall, and I think that semester was probably one of the worst for fire alarms. Rahul, that was like 30-something in a semester. It was asinine. I'd 4 a.m. 10 times during the semester. It was ridiculous. So, but most of those were me and Rahul sleeping nice and peacefully on 3rd floor grad, and then the guys on 4th North are burning popcorn, hanging on the sprinkler pipes, I don't know, blowing stuff. I don't know what they were doing, but the amount of times that it went off on 4th North or 3rd North or something completely on the other side of MSV was almost all of them. So you brought up the point of having the alarms kind of in different sections. So I guess my thought is, I know the system is all tied together right now, but what would it look like to have each hall have their own system? So if someone on 4th North burns popcorn, all the other halls don't have their alarms go off, and North Hall are the ones that kind of clear out. And then obviously, if an alarm, so that specific alarm gets triggered on 4th North, then if there's another alarm that gets triggered further down the line, then obviously the alarms would go off in the other buildings. But if it stays in that one specific location, then it's not something that's spreading, which means it's probably not a real fire. I don't know if that's possible or how the system is specifically set up.
RGA has looked into that over the past 2 years, and that would basically take a whole rewiring of our.
I figured as much, yeah.
Yeah, so that would be
a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough.
So who else wants to comment on this? Please raise your
I
hand.
had one more comment. Can I make that first?
Is it a connection issue?
Sort of, yeah. It's similar to, it's just continuing off from my point.
Yeah.
The last thing I wanted to say was, everyone keeps talking about microwaves. Everything is about microwaves. So what would it look like if we had all of the microwaves in the lounges just hooked up so that you tap your ID and then use it? So you know exactly who's using the microwaves and when they're using it. It's not like it costs money or anything, but you tap your ID, you turn it on, you do whatever, and it's fine. But then you know exactly who is using the microwaves when, because you just are using your ID. That probably wouldn't be super difficult to set up, just to put a little ID scanner on it, and then you tap it, and then you're able to actually use it or whatever. I think that might be helpful, and A, keeping people accountable, and then B, for actually knowing exactly who was using the microwave when that stuff happened. No, I know, but you can tell.
Who else wants to comment on this issue? Please raise your hands up high. Alright, so you'll take these comments in this order. And Leo, go.
So one question I have. I personally don't live in Gonzales, but I was over at a friend's, and one day we were just cooking, and when cooking things happen, suddenly something just for a second lit on fire, and some smoke came up, and the fire alarm detected it, and it started just beeping so slightly that we immediately stopped that, smoke quit, and after 5 to 10 seconds, the smoke detector stopped. So it did not have to go off. It did not have to get people outside the building. So my question is, how can we, or can we get the sensitivity of fire alarms in MSV to match that of Gonzales, considering that Gonzales has a kitchen in every room, which means the possibility of a fire is higher than that of MSV. So can we match these two together? And one other thing, I would like to hear your response about Alyssa's proposal about that.
So again, to change the sensitivity would really take a whole reworking of every single fire detector we have. So that's something we have to look at long term, and that would also cause us to shut down MSV long term. So mostly for summer. And as you know, MSV is the most utilized building when it comes to summer housing, whether it's guests. So that's something we are still trying to look at, but we indicated that it would take a whole rewiring of a lot of stuff. So that is something we're looking at. So I'm glad you thinking about that. As far as the deep dive packs, we have been looking at that also for the past 3 years. Joshua Marjenka, who no longer works with us, but his project he started looking at when he was RHD. So we are looking at doing those packets. The only issue it caused, only issues we're looking at right now is that it will be so let's say someone pulls it, and they just go straight back into the room and don't leave the room. than the fire alarm, so it would be kind of like a witch hunt for the next couple of days. Of like, if you see a blue-handed person, let us know. So that's a possibility if that's something that we really think would be good. So we would have to put it in every single floor, every single fire alarm. So we would have to do some pricing to do it. But I know a lot of universities do that within their residence hall, so good project.
She has an idea about the pricing. Is it okay?
I did find a website online that had a lot of information about it and the option to purchase they look like the little medicine shot thingies. They look kind of like those, and it was relatively inexpensive, and it covered around 50 to 80 fire alarms. It was actually relatively inexpensive, and you did mention that like they could just go back into their room and not get caught, but I still think that because it lasts for so long that somebody would see it, and eventually, like, because we all get mad when people pull the fire alarm, so like if I see some random kid and his whole entire hand is blue, I'm gonna be like, why did you do that? Like, people are gonna, like, I feel like people knowing that they're the ones who pulled it would deter them from pulling it and being known for it. And I feel like it's really hard to get by without no one seeing your blue hand.
Thank you, Elsa. What's your name?
Just like a suggestion I had, like we were talking like 30 fire alarms pulled in one semester, like $500 a fine each, like that's like $15,000. Maybe like you guys could do something where you post something on publicity boards, like showing what $15,000 could do for a residence hall. Like complain about the bathrooms. Well, $15,000 could remodel a floor's bathroom. So it's like showing what, like kind of what's in it for the residents if they don't act stupid. So it's like, hey, it's like it shows the like the effect of what a semester without any fire alarm being pulled would be, like the benefit for them.
Shibano?
I know this conversation comes up all the time, right? Whenever there's a fire alarm or a fire alarm policy change, people talk about why don't we take other steps, like to figure out who did it or reduce, how to think about other ways to reduce. I want to ask RGL and RHA what projects have been already looked into, so we don't keep repeating that. Let's do this, let's do that, and we can't do that. What projects have you looked into?
So changing the fire detector system, the blue packets, the microwaves that will cut off when a certain smoke level or heat level is reached within inside of it. We started looking into ID tappers that was brought up. I don't think that turned out to be turned out to be
Thank you. For sure.
Right. Guys, I just have 2 comments to make. The first one, regarding the Alyssa's suggestion of the blue dye, I think it's a brilliant idea. I mean, I'm sold. But like, you know, it's not absolute. What if like someone uses an object or wears gloves? I mean, like say you take a metal ruler and you just like, you know, fiddle with the thing and it just comes out. How are you gonna like figure out like how is it even helpful? And this, if you're gonna publicize it and say like if you see a blue hand, I'm thinking like, you know, people will always find a way against it. People being people. Will always find a way against it. Second comment I want to make is the one regarding something brought up regarding the opening of popcorn and steam setting off the fire alarms. You know, I live in North first, and our microwave is decently spaced away from the fire alarm. So if we could just like, you know, dismantle it or the microwaves exactly underneath the fire alarms and move it a bit, like say a wall space away, a corner away at least, that might help like stop these unnecessary steam alarms rather than fire alarm steam alarms. So suggestion.
Thank you. That was all the time we had for this discussion. Thank you all for participating. We had some brilliant ideas, and I felt like there is a need for further clarification on how this policy is going to be implemented. So thank you all for participating, and it's still open for Ali. Sure.
So I've noticed personally that FD has a lot of projects going on, especially this semester, regarding the residence halls. I just want to say that RJ is here as like a liaison for that. comes up that anything can be addressed through us, that we may to us. We had Jay as our SGA senator, and he's no longer with us, but we do have some and a number of other people who are in constant contact with RHA, so there's always a means to come and give us information if there's something, or also direct students to us if there's something that they would like to see done.
Leo.
So I had this conversation with Nikki very recently at first place after the meeting. I was planning to talk to you, so we'll work something out. Okay?
Giovanna.
For RHA, we talk about this in SGA a lot, that we should publish what projects we work on somewhere very visible. Can RHA do that too, or do you do that already?
We have not been doing that, but we are thinking of maybe discuss just earlier this semester having a bulletin sent out like bi-weekly or something to residents or anyone who's interested about what we have going on, and probably having polls that gain information on what residents want to have happen. So we're looking to do something like that.
Thank you. Raul.
Do you have a topic for next Senate meeting?
I'll let the senators know. If you have any suggestions for a topic of discussion, please let me know. I'll take it into consideration. Any other comments, questions? It's open floor. You can discuss anything. Yeah.
One quick. Sorry, I just forwarded you a picture. Can you put it up there real quick for me? I'm so sorry. I should have done this like 6 hours ago. On Saturday, the Leadership Academy is bringing in Second City to do a workshop with people. Like I think it's a 3-hour workshop about improvisation skills. Right, that was really hard word to say. And kind of how you can use that in your everyday life. If you have any interest in this workshop, please come see me after this. I can still get you in because we've got some space left. How much what?
Space.
How much space is left? I think I've got about 20 more spots. It's this Saturday from I think 10 o'clock.
10 to 2.
10 to 1. So yeah, if you're interested, come see me after the meeting. I'll get you on the list.
Thank you. William.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Wait, before you rise from your seats. Wait. As you all know, this month is Black History Month, so I want to add a quote. It's also, I feel like it was relevant to last week's events. So just keep in mind. Yeah, you're in
All right.
Make a straight line. Straight line.
And then I log in to do this.
Saturday.